Son, hold on. Maybe I need to adjust my camera. Give me a second. It looks shadowed to me, but let's see how it goes. All right. Okay, so welcome to the free astrotheology course. I am Dr. Yasapa. Our course textbook is The Devil's Pulpit. The author is the Reverend Bill Darrell-El. Keep in mind that this book is a compilation of lectures that were given in 1830. All right, so that's almost 200 years ago. Okay, y'all? Almost 200 years ago. So let me see if I can make some adjustments to get a better... The image looks very dark. Hold on. Let me see if I can, what I can do. I'm in a very small area. I know, and everything is small in Southeast Asia. No joke. I'm tall, but not that tall. But it's like being a giant. If y'all can appreciate what I'm saying. So let me see if that's a better image. No. Anyway, well, we just have to make it do what it do, y'all. I don't know why at least on my screen, my image looks dark. But anyway, keep in mind this book is a compilation of lectures from the 1830s. Okay? Compiled in book form in 1857. All right? So you'll see some antiquated language. All right? Which makes it a difficult read for most. But the information in here is outstanding. This book is the foremost book on astrotheology, bar none. This is it. Okay, y'all? This is it. All right? So it's not just the information in here, it's also the technique. Okay, so the technique, the author gives us the Gospel Buster, which is history. What page is it on? It's history, science, and philology. You get it on page 34. All right? The science is the astronomy or astrology, right? Those terms were used interchangeably back then. Okay, so I'm not talking about newspaper, hocus pocus, ridiculous astrology. So let's get into where we left off, all right? In one moment. Okay. All right, page 39. Page 39. The second paragraph. All right, y'all? This is where we're going to pick up. Thanks for liking and sharing the video. Much appreciated. Subscribe if y'all haven't already. So you can, well, you won't get notified. Most of the people don't get notified. I know that from the analytics. I find out where the people come from, and it's not from notifications. But anyway, because only a few, like you can count it on one hand, actually get notified. All right. So page 39, paragraph 2. And hence that ridiculous conundrum. So that noise you hear is airplane. Hold on. So I'm near an airport. So from time to time, y'all are going to hear that. I'm near an airport. Okay. And hence that ridiculous conundrum, which our Methodists are so fond of quoting. So that's the Methodist church, right? But of the meaning of which they are so exquisitely ignorant. So this is God is love, y'all. God is love. And then interesting, yes, he is. Yes, y'all should remember, is yes, just, Jesus, the US Latin suffix. Okay? So yes, again, is Jesus. So Jesus is love. This is what the author is telling you. Okay? And as much as a horse and no more know they of the meaning of God being love. In other words, they don't know the etymology. They don't know about Eros, E-R-O-S, who is Cupid, C-U-P-I-D. Everybody knows Cupid. Who is Phanes, P-H-A-N-E-S, who is Phineas, and what's the other name? There's one more name. I think it's Phantom. Who is Jesus? All of these are sun deities. That's the point. Solar deities, okay? Yes, he is. And as much as a horse, I already read that. So let's skip down. The Roman poets, deriving their theology from the Greeks, who is the same as Phanes, arriving their theology from the Greeks, with as little inquiry as Christians. In other words, they just adopted the religious system of the Greeks, and they didn't study it. They don't know anything about it. They just picked it up. Man, so many distractions here. This would be so much better if I had a studio. You know, if I had a studio, so I wouldn't have they're playing tennis over here. So I'm dealing with the tennis. I don't know if y'all can hear the tennis, the hollering and the balls and the airport. But eventually, hopefully I can get to the point to get a studio. But we'll see how it works out. The Roman poets, deriving their theology from the Greeks with as little inquiry as the Christians, have mistaken Phaeton, who is the same as Phanes, for the son, S-O-N, of the sun, S-U-N. Y'all got that? Whereas he was unquestionably the Son himself, as the God of light, represented as the firstborn of heaven. Y'all got that? So you see, this is Jesus. As in the verse of ancient Orpheus, quote unquote, firstborn Phaeton, son of the far shining morning. So Phaeton is not the son of the sun, but Phaeton is the sun itself. Okay? So let's continue. An attribute distinctively retained to the epiphany of Christianity, and that the incantation of the epiphany, quote unquote, O God who didst manifest O God, who didst manifest thy only begotten Son to the Gentiles. All right, y'all see that? So we know this etymologically. We also know it from mythology. So Phantion and Phanes. So this would be their religious doctrine. Okay, so we have those two pieces of evidence proving that. All right. So yes, God is love. Cupid is also love. Jesus is love, so on and so forth. Okay, now let's continue. We're going to go to page 40 because I went over that in the last class before this one. I think that's number 20. Okay, so now let's go to let's pick up where we left off. Here's where we left off. Page 40, the second to the last paragraph. We'll begin here. All right. By the way, the link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. Y'all check it out. Download it. This is The Devil's Pulpit by Robert Taylor, the Reverend Robert Taylor. They appear to be the first human race. He's talking about the Babylonians and the Chaldeans. As a matter of fact, it's a short paragraph at the top. Let me just go through it. Of the Magi, hi there. Of the Magi, so deceitfully translated as wise men of the East, directed by a star to a stable in which the king of the Jews was to be born. All of our historical knowledge is derived from the most ancient of all writings. He said all of the historical writings is derived from the most ancient of all writings. Those transmitted to us from the ancient Babylonian and Chaldeans. Okay, so now we see the source here. Okay, and that's true today. That's still true today. All right, now let's get into it. They appear to be the first, that's the Babylonians and the Chaldeans, of the human race who constituted such a body as that which is now called the clergy. So here, connect Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. Everyone should know that verse by now. I think I have it quoted, cited rather, in the description area of this video. Okay, so this notion and this group that's called a clergy comes straight out of Babylon. How about that, y'all Christians? So the concept of a clergy is Babylonian. Okay? Isn't that interesting, y'all? They were formed into societies. Now, listen, clergies were formed into societies. It's not that secret societies emerged. It's not that the secret societies emerged inside of clergies. No, the clergies were formed and organized into secret societies. Y'all got it? From the beginning. From T1, from the beginning. So when you are dealing with a religion, of course they have a clergy. You should automatically expect that there's a secret society in that. Okay? All right. So the clergy were formed into societies and resided in colleges. Now, take note. Clergy college. Colleges and universities, where their whole business consisted in the study of astronomy. Not newspaper hocus pocus astrology, y'all. Science. Science. So what are we learning here? What we call religious institutions today, and if you take it back even further, these megalithic cathedrals that we absolutely know were not built in the Middle Ages, they were in fact institutions of higher learning at their inception. Is it clear, y'all? And these were colleges and universities. Okay? The clergy were considered the professors. Now, if you take it back further than that, this would have been a body of professors. All right? Now, when the religious remix was done, when the Catholic Church started to kill off all of the professors and engineers, we see these bodies given the religious names that we see now, one of which is clergy. Y'all got it? Okay? I hope that's clear. All right, which they were disguised from the discovery of the vulgar. In other words, the common people, the people on the outside of the house who Jesus did not want to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God so that they could repent and be saved. The vulgar are the common people. Okay? Under the thick veil of allegorical fictions and pretended histories. I'm going to explain that. Hold on. So y'all should remember, you should remember that the Zodiac, the Coptic Egyptians, to preserve the science of astronomy, astrology, they wrote the gospel, the original gospel. Why did they do it? Because the Catholics were coming after them, killing them. They were trying to destroy the natural law paradigm that existed in the world at that time. Everybody followed natural law. Your whole life was governed by natural law. What you did on a daily basis and commerce. The Catholic Church wanted to destroy that and replace it with religious dogma. With religious dogma. This is where you get the connotative linguistics and the remix that I so often talk about. All right? So this is the source or the aggravating circumstances that caused those professors to write these allegorical stories explaining in code the zodiac and the sun's movement through each of the zodiac signs. Okay, y'all? That's what happened. That's what happened. So it was a disguise to preserve the knowledge. And of course, the Gospels were later translated into Latin. This is where we get we know this because of the US suffix being retained in the Greek. And then after Latin, it was translated into Greek once the Goths and the Visigoths, the Vandals and the Goths got a hold of the Gospels. That's where most of the harm was done in terms of forcing people to accept and believe the Gospels as being true stories. And of course, the edits that took place, they added to the record, right? So these are the allegorical fictions and pretended histories and the aggravating circumstances and the conditions that happen evolving what you call the modern day gospel. Okay, y'all? Now, y'all should take some time and read up on the secret gospel. If you haven't heard of that, go back and watch the astrotheology course that I did using the book called The Gospel and the Zodiac. Okay? That stuff will just blow your mind what's in the secret gospel of Mark. Secret gospel of Mark. Precisely such as the gospels which are come down to us are found to be. Okay, so he gave you a very short history of that. All right. Okay. So some of their order, that's the order of the clergy, from time to time broke loose from the collegiate discipline. So this is where he's talking about. Correlate this with Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. They broke loose from the collegiate discipline of teaching science, and what did they start to do? They started to create religion. Okay? This is Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. It's most easily understood in the Amplified Bible version. All right? So y'all Google search that. The scribes have turned the book of the law into a lie, into a religion. Okay, so y'all go check that. You can see the proof of that. All right. So let's continue. So they broke off from the collegiate discipline. So these would be, and rambled at large, like so many mendicants and begging friars. Okay, so of course the begging friars, that's the Middle Ages. These are Catholics. Whereas those who broke off from the collegiate discipline, these would have been what? It actually goes back further than Babylon. It goes back to the ancient Egyptians. Okay? So, the ancient Egyptians and other autochthonous Moors, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, also Babylonians, broke off. Most likely they entered into the Brotherhood of Saturnalia, the black priesthood, right? The dark priesthood. And this is what they were doing, creating religion, okay? For all of the obvious motivations. Anyway, let's continue. Let's see what the author has to say. Some of their order from time to time broke loose from the collegiate discipline and rambled at large, like so many mendicants and begging friars, and were itinerant Methodists or missionaries of the clerical conclave. Y'all see that? So they're forming religions. Okay? They're forming religions. Whatever it was that they got mad about, they decided to break away and form these religions. They were the professed followers or worshipers of the imaginary founder of their craft. All right, what's the craft, y'all? A deified personage called Zoroaster, whose worship was called magia or magic. Well, there we have it. And the professors of it were called magi or magicians. This is page 40. Y'all look at that. Content is right here where my fingers are. Take a look. Y'all can pause this on the playback. You can see that this is actually what's in the page, what's on the page. All right. So make the connection. So make the connection. These three magi were magicians, magic practicing priests. They were followers or worshipers of Zoroaster. So the three magi who came to see baby Jesus, the first who were given knowledge of his birth, the first who paid homage to him and gave him offerings were worshipers of the devil, Zoroaster. They were magic practicing priests. That's what a magi is. Make the connection. Okay? Now, you should remember that Christianity is Pisces, which is dualism, duality, which is intentional deceit, etc. We covered this in the last class extensively, right? The gospel and the zodiac. Now let's continue. By Zoroaster was denoted both deity and also his priest. So that while there were many real personages who bore the name Zoroaster, the original type is a mere fiction of imagination, as I trust on Sunday last. He's referring to the last sermon he gave at the Rotunda, right? The year was 1830. I instructed you satisfactorily in the anatomy of words. He gave that demonstration. We went through that. That was part 2 of the Star of Bethlehem. Okay, so the anatomy of words, we went through that. That's etymology, grammar rules, etc. Also, it has application to science and history. Those are the 3 pillars or the trinity of the gospel buster. Okay? Or the art of dissecting words and bringing them back to their radicals. So what's a radical? A radical is the first type of the word, okay, or a root or a base, okay? You will see that Zoroaster is derived from Zor. So there's 2 words compounded. The first is Zor, y'all, Z-O-R. The second word is Aster, A-S-T-E-R. Zoroaster is compounded from 2 words, Zor, Z-O-R, and Aster, A-S-T-E-R. That is the ammonium, the 2 ammonium primitives. Now, primitives only means first type. Just the original word or first type, okay? Sor, Zor, Sir. Let me spell it. The first is Sor, T-S-O-U-R. The next word is Zor, Z-O-R. The next word is Sir, S-I-R. The name of God in Hebrew, there's a footnote, and Aster, A-S-T-E-R, which means the star in Greek. Let me show y'all this before I give commentary. Now, the Hebrew name, the name for God in Hebrew, the footnote reads, translated a rock. So the name for God is translated a rock. Whence Petra, Peter, Jupiter, that's J-E-W, and then Peter. Jupiter, of course, that's Jupiter. Well, here it is right here. Jupiter, Patar, and Pater, each of which means father. The source of this is Byron's analysis. Okay, that's out of Byron's analysis. So now, y'all take a look at this. Remember, the word we're dealing with is Zoroaster, which is compounded from Zor and Aster. So here we see the forms, the many forms of Zor. Y'all see it? T-S-O-U-R. The next one is Z-O-R. And then Sir, S-I-R. What can we say about this? We see the same or similar sound produced by different consonants. T-S to produce Sor, Z for Zor, and S for Sir. And then what do we also see? We see different vowels. We see different vowels. The O, U, and I. But what's constant? What's constant? The sound and the R. Why are they doing this? They're mixing base words or radicals from different languages. What's the purpose of that? To hide the meaning from you. Why would they hide it from you? Because according to Jesus Christ, his own words, he doesn't want you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God. That's why he's hiding. That's why they're hiding it from you. Because if you know it, you can repent and be saved. In other words, you can get out of your corporate, civilly dead state. Y'all got it? Hold on. Then want you to know the mysteries. Christ doesn't want you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God, because that gives life. Everybody see that? But as long as you are ignorant of this, you are civilly dead. You are in maritime admiralty, Catholic, Christian canon, corporate jurisdiction, where you are non-descendable. You have no rights. You have no natural rights. Y'all got it? You are goyim. Genesis chapter 1. You are cattle. All right? To be worked, to be used. Okay? Y'all got that? Those who are on the inner house, they get nature and natural law. They get astrology, the Zodiac. They learn denotative linguistics. They learn the natural laws of linguistics and are taught to follow them. So they're living in harmony with nature. Okay, so that's how they get life. Those are blessings, right? Deuteronomy 28, verse 1 through 14. That's following the Most High's commandments. That's following the Most High's instructions. Where you on the outside, you get religion, you get dogma. You are living out of harmony with nature, and so you suffer. How are they doing it? With the pen. Jeremiah 8, verse 8. I just went over one technique with you. Now, let's get into this word, this name of God in Hebrew, okay? And Aster, A-S-T-E-R, the star in Greek. Hold on, y'all. All right. Okay, page 41, page 41. Thus, in Zoroaster, the Z-O-R and the S and the A-S-T-R, T-E-R, your own ear will run the gamut down to the types in our own language of the words sir, S-I-E-R, applied in address to every person of the rank of a gentleman. That's right. If you're a significant person, you are a star. Right? Stars in Hollywood. Okay. In the UK, a British gentleman is a star. This is what is meant by sir. Astrology. Okay. High, elevated. Stars are high up in the sky, right? They are elevated. Y'all see it? And Easter, the east, E, comma, Aster, E, comma, A-S-T-E-R, and astronomy. So all of these words are coming from Aster. Y'all take a look at it. Easter, y'all see Easter here? East, right? The star in the east, right? In the Star of Bethlehem story. E, Aster, east, Easter. Y'all see it? And it is the root for astronomy. It is the root for astronomy. Okay, so Easter, of course, is very significant because with Easter, we're talking about what? In the Jewish system, that's Passover. When the sun is rising above, or when the sun passes over the celestial equator. For the Jewish religion, that's Passover. For the Christians, that is Easter. Okay, that is Easter. Now, keep in mind, east, that becomes very significant. as we progress through this chapter. East, okay, y'all? East, keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. So Zoroaster, astronomy, Easter. All right? Star in the east. Page 41, continue. So in the name magia and magic, originally given to the science of astronomy, y'all see that? Initially, these were professors, astronomers, engineers who simply studied the stars. That's all. They studied the stars. They were not worshiping them. That came later with the Catholics, or during that transitional phase, is what I meant to say. So in the name magia and magic, originally given to the science of astronomy, disguised under the veil of evangelical romances or God's spells, as they were called, your ear will trace the roots All right. So it says here, your ear will trace the roots of our name of magistrate. The Latin magister, the English master. One of the characteristic titles of Jesus Christ. Yes, Jesus Christ was called master. All right? He was called master. Who in the Persic language, as the ancient Persians were the most distinguished fire worshippers, y'all got that? That would be the sun, was called Mithra, that is, the master. Y'all got that? So here we see again Mithra being Jesus the Christ figure. Okay? Now, this is an etymological connection and a historical connection. All right? Everybody see that? So again, we see Godspell. I want to bring this to y'all attention. The Godspells. These are incantations and charms, romanticized stories, fantasies, fairy tales that are designed to make you feel sorry for the main character or some group of characters, make you feel sorry for them, relate to them, so that you can more easily transport yourself into the narrative. In other words, narrative transportation, right? That's what they're trying to invoke you to do. Okay, transport yourself into the narrative through your imagination. And y'all know that the imagination is what creates your reality, right? Yes, it's a projection of your imagination that will create or manifest for you. And that can go in the positive and the negative. The mechanism is imagination. It is not visualization as we have been taught. All right. So let's continue. The absolute identity of the pagan god Mithra, that is Zoroaster. The original Zoroaster, or personified genius of the sun. So what that means is that the sun is given a spirit. And this spirit takes the form of Apollo, Zeus, the Tetragrammaton, Zoroaster, all of the solar deities. It is a spirit, if you will, of the sun. Y'all got it? Is that clear? So Zoroaster is Mithra. The absolute identity of the pagan god Mithra, that is Zoroaster, the original Zoroaster, or personified genius of the sun, and the Jesus Christ of the gospel. Everybody got that? Is then so clear and so demonstratable, so you don't have to believe it. It's not something you just need to believe. No, you can see it. It's demonstratable through the language and the history. All right? And the science. That would be the astronomy. That no man's nose was ever more clearly to be proved to be part and parcel of and pertaining to his face. Well, that's quite obvious, right? Your nose is a part of your face. Then Christ and Mithra may be shown to be one and the self-same personification of the sun, and Christianity and magic one and the same device for working on the imaginations of ignorant and silly people and rendering them slaves. A slave, y'all, is a bondman or bondwoman. A slave is chattel, cattle, goyim. Rendering them slaves. This would be what? These would be people who don't have a nationality, stateless people, corporate persons. Y'all got it? Corporate persons. Cowards. Y'all afraid to die, right? You're afraid to burn in hell. You're afraid to blaspheme the Holy Spirit. So you won't do anything for yourself to protect yourself, right? You let the corporate government do anything they want to you, even take an experimental something, and you don't know what's going to happen. But you do it. Why? Because that's what the New Testament told you to do, right? That's what you were told to do. We went over this topic in quite some detail on Saturday in 506 The Curses course that I teach on Zoom. Y'all should have came. We went over the secret treaty of Verona. Hold on a second. We went over the secret treaty of Verona as it pertains to this topic and what happened with the pandemic. Okay, y'all? I'm talking like that because YouTube removed one of my videos when I actually said the words. So, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So you've been made into bondmen and bondwomen, slaves, goyim, chattel, cattle, stateless persons, yes, through religion. And y'all don't even know it. Many of you watching this, you don't know how it's been done to you. But you have given up your nationality. Okay, and many of you don't even know that you have a nationality. Like the blacks, the African Americans, if you ask them what their nationality is, they'll tell you their religion. Most will tell you their religion. They'll say, I'm Baptist. Or they won't know how to answer the question. Y'all see it? So you've been made into slaves, cowards, and fools. You won't take up for yourself. Y'all know it's true. You're cowards. Let a policy enforcer come to your house and start talking about taking your heirs from you, 4 and 5 years old. Y'all gonna let them do it. Why? Because you're a coward. That it was always most convenient for their masters, for the magicians, for the clergy, for the priests. It was always most convenient for the masters, for the magicians, for the clergy, that they should be what? Slaves, cowards, and fools. That's why they wanted to get rid of the natural law world paradigm and usher in a religious paradigm. Because under religion, you're totally separated from nature. You're disconnected from nature. That makes you, by default, a fool. It also makes you a bondman or bondwoman according to law. You have no nationality, no constitutional or treaty protections. It also makes you a coward because you're believing in devils and demons that don't exist. Right? You're going to burn in hell, the devil got a pitchfork and all of that foolishness. Let me check the time, y'all. All right? So thus the birth of the god Mithra from the days of an infinitely remote antiquity. So Mithra, this is an old deity, right? Was represented to have taken place in a stable. Mithra was born in a stable, y'all. I'm on page 42. Mithra was born in a stable. Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. Remember, JC was also born in a stable in a manger and was celebrated throughout the whole pagan world. Okay? Good morning. Let me let the plane go by. So the whole pagan world, what's considered pagan is anything that's not Catholic. Okay, Catholic / Christian. All right? So Mithra was worshipped all over the world. All right? Mithra was born in a stable on none other than the 25th day of December, our Christmas day, the most celebrated of all magician festivals. So Zoroastrianism, Christmas Day was the most famous day. All right, December 25th, which is the birth of all of the solar deities, due to the sun being resurrected, moving 1 full degree northward, ascending northward 1 full degree on December 25th. Well, actually, the transition between December 24th into 25th at 12 midnight. Okay? So at the winter solstice, December 21, 22, the sun stops casting a shadow on the sundial for 3 days. So the sun is said to be dead but resurrected on December 25th when it moves a full 1 degree. Everybody understand that, right? Okay, now, our Christmas Day, the most celebrated of all the magician festivals, where if you rectify your celestial globe to the moment of 12 o'clock at midnight between the 24th and 25th of December, you will find the constant. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Look at this. Between December 24th and December 25th at 12 midnight, you will find the constellation of the stable of Bethlehem. So the stable of Bethlehem is a constellation, y'all. It is a constellation. Do y'all see that? Not a real stable. It's a constellation of stars. You can see it at 12 midnight on December 25th every year, in which Christ is said to be born the moment he achieves his first degree of ascension at the lower meridian. So the lower meridian is the southern part of space, okay? That's the winter solstice. All right? Y'all see that? While you shall see the constellation of the Virgin, now this is 12 o'clock midnight, between December 24th going into the 25th. At 12 o'clock midnight, look up in the sky, you'll see the stable of Bethlehem constellation, and you'll also see Virgo, the constellation Virgo, who is said to bring Christ forth, or Jesus forth. And no disparagement to her eternal virginity, because it's not a real woman, right? That's the constellation Virgo. At that moment, and come to the line of the horizon, and thus said to preside over his nativity. So if you look out over the horizon, hold on. So if you look out over the horizon, y'all, you will see the constellation Virgo right over the horizon. And this is why Virgo, or the Virgin Mary, is said to give birth to Jesus. Is that clear? Everybody see that? Adrana writes, greetings of peace, Dr. Yasapa. Greetings back to you, Shalom and Islam. Good to see you here. I hope this is clear. I hope it's very, very clear, y'all. Okay? So when Christ is resurrected, the sun is ascending a full 1 degree, 12 midnight, the beginning of December 25. Look up into the sky. You'll see the stable of Bethlehem constellation. Look over to the horizon, and you'll see the constellation Virgo. Hence, Virgo, or the Virgin Mary, gives birth to JC in a stable. Clear? Clear? Couldn't be any more clear than that, right, y'all? I'm on page 42. As Saint Justin, commonly called Justin Martyr, one of the earliest of the Christian fathers, actually draws the parallel between Christ and Mithra, that Christ was born on the same day when the sun takes his annual birth in the stable of Aguias. Yes. That is, in the station of the celestial goat. So there you have it. There you have it. The celestial goat has to be Capricorn, right? Where we have seen is actually placed the stable of Aguias in the 6th labor of Hercules. So now we're dealing with philology again, because this is mythology involved here, right? Also mythology involved here. Everyone sees that? So the stable of the goat is the stable of Bethlehem, is Capricorn. Okay, so look up in the sky, you'll see Capricorn, and on the horizon, you'll see the Virgin Mary. All right, y'all? This is the story, and it's gonna give you the whole scene celestially as we progress through the chapter. But I need to stop here because I have an appointment to go to. I hope it's clear. Let me see how much time I got. All right. Let's move to the next paragraph, page 42, last paragraph. This Capricornus, the goat, in the pagan mythology, is said to have suckled the infant Jupiter, of which enigma the undoubted solution is that the sun sun, who is Jupiter, first beginning to rise on the 25th of December, when the days having been at the shortest on the 21st. That's the winter solstice, y'all. Or St. Thomas Day. St. Thomas Day is the winter solstice. So that unbelieving Thomas doubted whether the sun would ever rise again. Why? Because the sun had not cast a shadow. Right? Clear, y'all? For 3 days. So Thomas doubted if it would rise again. First appeared to be lengthening again. The sun, or Jupiter, or Jesus, is said to be born or brought up with the goat. born or brought up, ascending up a full 1 degree with the goat. Look in the sky, you see Capricorn. Okay? You see Capricorn in the sky, the zodiac sign Capricorn. Look to the horizon, you see Virgo or the Virgin Mary. And the sun, when you see those, the sun, you'll know that the sun has risen or been resurrected. It has ascended a full 1 degree. You look at the sundial, you'll see that the sun has cast a 1 degree shadow on the sundial. It can't not be any clearer than this, right, scholars? All right. So I wanted to finish that thought up, y'all. Finish that thought off. Okay? All right. So we're gonna stop here. I have an appointment to go to. Shalom Islam to all the Moors. Support my work, y'all. If you're learning, if you can afford it, support the work I'm doing. All right. I got links to classes and everything else in the description area of the video. I'm a little bit late, so I gotta run, y'all. Shalom.